What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F123 for My Team Career Mode Season 3, Round Number 3, the Australian Grand Prix. We're back in Australia for the first time since Season 1, racing here once again. We didn't have the best time here when we last raced here in Season 1. Doing alright in the race, to be honest. We were running in the points, but then we had a mechanical failure on, I think it was like the second to last lap. It was our first mechanical failure of this career mode. So yeah, it didn't go super well for us here last time around, but hoping for better things this time. This is what the R&D looks like going into this race. As you can see, Aston Martin have now also caught right up to us. I think they are actually slightly ahead now, so we are now the fourth quickest team on paper. But we're still right up there in that top group. Red Bull are now right on top of McLaren as well. So it's quite quickly becoming a kind of 6-car top group, top tier, I guess you could say. But currently Mercedes and Ferrari still the highest by a little bit in the R&D. And yeah, after the first two races, we of course had Hamilton in the Mercedes win in Bahrain, and then we had Leclerc get a quite an unexpected win, actually, considering he was knocked out in Q2 in Saudi Arabia. So it has been Mercedes and Ferrari on top so far, but we've been very consistent. We had a P3 in Bahrain, it was a P6 in Saudi, but Alonso managed a P2, so looking good for our team so far. Our teammate definitely doing better than our previous teammate of Tsunoda did last season, where we won the championship. He was only like P11. No real shocks out in Q1. Maybe Esteban Ocon, a little bit of a surprise, out in P19 there. The Alpine driver not getting through. He kind of got decimated a little bit in the quali head-to-heads by Gasly last season. I think it ended up being like 14-2 or something in Gasly's favour. But so far, Ocon has beaten Gasly well, it was 2-0 in qualifying. Gasly now makes that 2-1. But yeah, knocked out in Q1 for Ocon, not great. That Alpine, to be fair, it is towards the lower end. But I mean, like I've said, for a lot of this whole career mode, to be honest, the field is very close on paper. So the only real outliers to me at the moment now seem to be Haas, who have dropped since last season, Alfa Romeo and Alfa Tauri. Q2 knockouts, Gasly only P11 for him, but a lot better than his teammate. De Vries is out in Q2 along with Iwasa in the Aston Martin. Those two probably the biggest shocks. But yeah, not massive shocks considering how close everyone is. Both Red Bulls making it through to Q3 for the first time this season. And it is the first time for Sainz. Pretty sure Verstappen's made it to Q3 in all three races so far. This is the first time Sainz has made it through, though he was knocked out in Q2 in the previous two races. So he'll be happy getting through to Q3 in his new team. And looking to out-qualify Verstappen here would be a big thing for him. And yeah, this is my Q3 run. Yeah, not really much to say here. I do quite like driving this track. It's quite a difficult track at times, this section here, especially coming off the long straight. If you don't get the line right through there, you will go onto the curb and potentially into the gravel if you really stuff it up. The rest of the track isn't too difficult, but yeah, it's definitely not the easiest track in the world to drive. It's not the easiest track in the world for overtaking either. Main overtaking spots seem to be into turn 1, maybe into turn, what would that be, turn 3, I guess you'd call it. And then the other one is kind of off the main, not really a straight. That would be the best opportunity there. Yuki Tsunoda has stuck it on pole position, so he is showing pace in that Ferrari. He's taken pole position this time around. Leclerc's all the way down in P6, so another poor qualifying from him. Hamilton's there on the front row, and then it's Norris and Alonso out-qualifying myself again. We're down in P8, just ahead of the two Red Bulls, but let's see what we can do from there. I think we'll have pretty good race pace here. We'll see if we can fight with those top guys.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. Close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Davies, Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly, Iwasa, Albon, De Vries, Joe, Sargent, Bottas, Doohan, Ocon, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And now it's time to head down to the track.
It's PA on the grid for us here in Australia. 5 red lights on right now. They're on for quite a long time, just like they were in Saudi, but they are finally off and we are underway. We're starting on medium tyres. We're going to try an audacious one stop onto soft tyres instead of the hard compound tyres here. So we'll see how that goes. It's 3 wide with Russell, Alonso and Leclerc into turn 1. Russell comes out best there. We've pretty much held position here, almost got past Piastri, but just couldn't quite make the move. We now have actually Gasly, who's a quick runner on the soft compound tyres, trying to go for a move around the outside of us. He may be on quicker tyres, but I still want to stay ahead of him. I want to stay with this lead group here, so we defend from Pierre Gasly, who has had a pretty good start there on the softs, up into P9 already, as we just continue on behind Piastri in the trail of cars in front of us. It was a little bit close into turn 1 with everybody, as now going down this straight, Gasly's absolutely using as much ERS as he can. He's also got pressure from Sainz behind, who's managed to jump Verstappen, his teammate, off the line and is now running in P10. Well, that's actually where he started this race, but has gotten past his teammate Verstappen, but Gasly has also gotten past him, so he hasn't moved from his position, as we are now just trying to defend from Gasly on this first lap. The AI just really use a lot of ERS on the first lap, so finding it difficult to stay with the cars ahead and just having to defend. A little bit of a twitch as we head around the final corner. That is a very tricky corner to get on the pound. We're just going to check our condition just because things were a little bit hairy through the first couple of corners, but we are all okay. At the front, and Tsunoda got jumped by Lando Norris off the line, so Lando Norris now leads this race, but Tsunoda is coming back at him in the Ferrari, going to try and go round the outside of this corner right here, and I think Tsunoda's done it, back into the lead of this race where he started on pole position, his first pole position in Formula 1. Can he convert that into a first win as well? As now Hamilton is looking racy, and Norris, maybe just a good start for him because he's now under fire from Lewis Hamilton, who's going to try and go around the outside, the same place that Tsunoda did on Norris. Norris is going to be able to fight this one a little bit more though, as they now head side by side through the last couple of corners here, all very close. It's actually letting Tsunoda get away a little bit, but Hamilton has got himself up into P2 now, so good start from him. Towards the back end of the grid, this is one of the Haas who gets a bit caught up over turn 1 and then spins the car through turn 2, has managed to keep it out of the barriers, but has spun the car around and will drop him right to the bottom. He was pretty close to the back anyway, only a few cars behind him there, as you can see, but it is now the 2 Haas's at the bottom of the pile, so not having a good race here. This is a view from Valtteri Bottas. You just see it was very close actually to making contact there, but you can see, I think it was Jack Doohan, the home hero of Jack Doohan, or one of them anyway, one of the home Australian drivers, along with Piastri, going for a spin there. As now we are just kind of here behind Piastri. Sainz has managed to get past Gasly, so I guess Gasly is starting to suffer a little bit on those soft tyres now. We're showing a bit more pace now once the kind of warm-up phase in the first lap has gone away. We're just staying behind the cars there. Tsunoda, as I said, is kind of cruising a little bit at the moment with everybody fighting behind. He's got a decent lead of a couple of seconds here. He's well out of, got Hamilton well out of DRS there, and Hamilton's really having to defend from Norris behind. So Tsunoda at the moment looking good at the front of this race, but this is how it was looking in Saudi Arabia as well, and he went for a spin and fell all the way down to last place in the end with a penalty, as Norris actually gets a really opportunistic move on Hamilton there round the outside of turn 1. A very nice little move there from Lando Norris to put himself back up into P2, so still showing pace in that McLaren. The other McLaren is in a TGL Motorsport sandwich here, as we're going to try and go round the outside of Oscar Piastri, the other home driver here, and we get the move done round the outside there, try and get a good run here, a little bit wiggly on the exit curb, but we're just about going to stay ahead, still have DRS. Now we're tucked up behind our teammate, Fernando Alonso, who's looking good. He's maybe a little bit caught up, I think, by the cars ahead, but maybe doesn't quite seem to have the pace that that a few of the cars ahead do, or that I do myself. But it's very difficult to do anything here when you're on a DRS train. But on lap 14, he's into the pits along with Russell and I think Leclerc as well there. Hamilton carries on, Tsunoda carries on as well at the front, and now this is Norris coming out of the pits, and he's going to make contact with Carlos Sainz, who just didn't quite see him there, made contact, and now Sainz has lost his front wing. The exit of the pit lane here is it's not great. It really just shoots you out into the traffic, onto the racing line. Yeah, not a very good pit exit there, and the AI just, a lot of the time, just don't really realize and just drive into each other. Then George Russell has managed to just get, I think that was George Russell, has managed to get past, that might have been a Wasser actually, got past Norris, and Norris is now falling down the order, as Alonso has managed to get past as well. So Norris seemingly having issues here, not having a good time for some reason, not sure what's going on with him, as we now come into the pits for our pit stop on lap 17. We've gone a little bit longer on the medium compound tyres. We actually led the race for a lap or two because we're going onto the softs. Pretty much everybody else going onto the hard compound tyres from the mediums. Because it seems to be a thing in this game, at least at the moment, where AI either start on softs and go on to mediums, or start on mediums and go on to hards. They don't go medium to soft very often. That is what we're going to try and do though, but like I said, the exit of the pits is just so weird. I had to kind of take to the curb to make sure I didn't make contact with Alonso. Norris has now got past us. De Vries has gotten past us as well. We're now down into P9, so it hasn't really worked out, but we are now on the quicker compound tyres on these softs, and we're now shaping up a move on De Vries in the other Mercedes. We're going to try and go round the outside of that corner there. The AI, if they're too close to a car ahead, they turn their DRS off, and that just allows me to breeze around the outside of them, make a pretty easy overtake. He's going to come back at me though into this next corner, but we're going to go very defensive, very harsh, jump over the curb there and keep the position from De Vries, who is on the medium tyres because he started on the softs. So he is on potentially a better strategy, maybe, or at least a better tyre at the moment than the cars around him other than myself. We're now making the move on Lando Norris as we go round the outside of him. He puts up a bit more of a fight than De Vries did, and maybe he's going to try and do something into this corner as well, but no, he doesn't quite have the pace. We got a better exit out of the corner that time and stay ahead of Norris. Pierre Gasly now right on the back of Max Verstappen, who he's having a little battle with here, but oh no, it looks like Gasly is pulling over, and that is going to be another mechanical failure for Pierre in this season. He's had 2 mechanical failures in 3 races. Retires here, retired in Bahrain. He did finish in Saudi but didn't score any points. It's been a pretty woeful season so far for Gasly after a very good season in Season 2. We now have our teammate Alonso ahead of us, and we're going to try and make the move on him on these quicker compound tyres. Alonso fighting me a little bit here, although it doesn't put up too much of a fight as we head into the fast left-hander, and we will pick up the DRS and stay ahead of our teammate. Lando Norris is now out of the session. He has a mechanical failure, so maybe that's why he kind of fell back a little bit. His car was having issues and he has now retired due to a mechanical problem. Now Russell is the car ahead of us, and then Piastri, who's actually, I think, managed to get past Russell at some point. As we have a look up the inside into the left-hander, a little bit of an audacious move there, but I just thought I might as well give it a try. And Russell did give us the room, but I had to back out of that one, or else that was going to end up in a colossal accident. but next time around we've managed to get him away from Piastri a little bit, which means I don't think he has DRS, and then we're just going to do the standard round the outside move, but then we go way too wide into the next corner, get caught on the curb. That lets Russell get back past again, but we still have the DRS, so we're going to have a look to the outside of the next corner, but he just places his car perfectly and regains that position. So good little battle there with George. I've had a few good battles with him this season. Onto the next lap though, and we're now tucked right up behind him as we head through turn 2. DRS now available for us. We're going to try and see if we can do anything into this next corner. We're going to go to the outside actually, see if we can go around the outside here, a little bit wide for us, but we're going to be side by side with Russell, and there we go, we get a move done. Nice little move there, bit of side by side action through a couple of corners, and we're now up another position into, I believe, P6, I think that was. Now Iwasa going around one of the final corners, and he has spun his car around. The Japanese driver at Aston Martin spins his car around and is now trying to do like a 5-point turn. He's now found the barrier. He hasn't hit the barrier, but he's just kind of sat there on the curb, just waiting for cars behind him, I think, trying to not create too much carnage. But then he gets hit. He's just been hit up the rear. What has happened there? This is a view from Carlos Sainz, who's not been having a very good race, actually. I think he's had to come into the pits already for an issue, and as he's making a move on Magnussen, he then just completely drives into Iwasa. So that's a bit silly. Sainz is now out of the race, but it's so close to the end of the race that the safety car hasn't been deployed, as Piastri makes a move on Leclerc for P3 for a podium finish here in the last couple of laps. So Piastri going for a podium here, which would be McLaren's first podium of season 3. They haven't got a podium as of yet this season, as we are now still trying to defend from Russell, who's, I think our tyres are just going off a little bit in these last couple of laps here on the soft compound. And we've used a lot of ERS as well. We're down to almost single digits of ERS, and we're just about to come onto the final lap here, and Russell is putting a lot of pressure on us now. We are feeling the tyre wear, and I'm wondering, it's P5 we are in right now. I'm wondering if we can keep this P5, because it's going to be difficult with Russell putting pressure on us behind, as Alonso, I think that was Alonso getting past and lapping Iwasa, because he's now a lap down, as we continue on here just trying to defend from Russell, but we go way too deep into this corner. We then get on the curb and we spin a little bit into Russell. We've got front wing damage. Russell is past us. We just got a little bit too caught up on the curb there, spun the car around a bit. Russell managed to kind of redirect us again, but gave us a bit of front wing damage. It means we're going to finish this race. We're not going to drop any further. We're going to finish P6, but yeah, Russell has got on us for P5 right at the end there, just losing the tyre life. But the man of the hour is Yuki Tsunoda, who's going to come cross the line to win the Australian Grand Prix. Tsunoda is now a winner in Formula 1. He couldn't get a win in my team, but he's done it here at the third time of asking for Ferrari, and he's looking pretty strong, because he was leading the way in Saudi last time out as well, but couldn't quite convert it. Like I said, we're going to come home for P6 in the end. P5 was on the cards, but unfortunately the soft tyres, they just lost all their tyre life, all their grip towards in the last couple of laps. We couldn't hold on to Russell, but P6 for us, another P6 finish.
We've witnessed some great battles on the streets of Melbourne today then, and they've taken a fantastic win. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Quite simply, a driver is nothing without the team behind them. So, a deserved winner, but we do have to give a shout out to the team in the pit lane and back at the factory. Very much a collaborative process.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
So there we have it. Yuki Tsunoda wins the Australian Grand Prix, gets his first win in Formula 1. Will it be the first of many? Well, we'll have to wait and see. He's definitely putting up a bit of a fight to Leclerc in this championship so far, and just in the rivalry between them. Hamilton, the ever consistent, is on the podium for the third time. He's been on the podium all 3 races so far this season, brings home second place this time, and Oscar Piastri gets his and McLaren's first podium of season 3 as well. Good job for the Australian getting a podium in his home Grand Prix. He will be happy with that. We come home P6 in the end, just missing out to Russell in those last few laps. Leclerc, by the way, ends up P4, so it's a good weekend for Ferrari. Alonso P7 just behind us. Yeah, good performance from Alonso this weekend. Had better quali pace than race pace. And then you've got Verstappen, De Vries, and Albon actually picking up a point for Williams. So good job for him getting Williams on the board in Season 3 with 1 point. In the Drivers' Championship, and Hamilton actually extends his lead over Leclerc and myself in the championship. It is now, I believe, 21 points to Leclerc in second. And then it's really close from myself, Tsunoda, Russell, Piastri, and Alonso, and even Norris, I think. It is all very, very close in this top end of the championship. But at the moment, Hamilton has a fairly healthy lead of 21 points going into round 4. So he's looking to try and get this championship going with good consistency, being on the podium in all 3 races, and of course winning the first one in Bahrain. Mercedes still lead the Constructors' Championship. However, Ferrari have considerably taken a chunk out of them there in second place, and we've now dropped down to 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. The big one here, I guess, being that Williams now on the board, 7th position with 1 point to their name. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.